Hey pod people, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Starbuck, aka Prince of Dorkness, and today we're going to go over the comic books I read this week. I'm going to do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down review and let you know what you should be picking up. It's not my day off like I normally do, but my comics came a little bit late this week and I wanted to make sure to review them before next week's comics came out. So stick around, let's talk comics. Hey pod people, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Starbuck, aka Prince of Dorkness, and make sure that you go ahead and hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. All of these things help the channel grow. I greatly appreciate it, folks. This is my day off reading comics video. However, today's not my day off. Normally I do this on Thursday or Friday, but I wanted to make sure that since my comics came late this week that I got them reviewed before next week's comics come out. Also, make sure to stick around the channel because in the next couple of days I'll also be doing a review of the Dark Ages miniseries from Marvel Comics, as I also read that this week, but I felt like it deserved its own thing. So let's get right into it. First book we have of the week, D.O.R.C. number 5. This book was fantastic. If you like the crime noir style book, D.O.R.C. is, I think, the best book on the market right now in that style. Of course, the character, we've talked about him before, he is basically a lawyer slash detective, I guess more detective, for all of the crime families in New York, and he gets into some stuff. It's pretty awesome. In this issue, we see Easton Newburn in prison for the episode with a cool twist on the overall story. So this is a big thumbs up. Newburn is one of the best non-superhero books on the market, I think, right now. And next up, we have Spawn by Rory McConville, Carlo, and Barbary. I'm really liking Spawn right now. In this issue, we kind of get to see what's going on with Jim Downing and Mark. I get a very strong feeling that Mark is definitely in a little over his head in the storyline, as Jim seems to be wanting to go after Spawn, and I don't know that Mark wants to be on that side. But it is a great book. I'm really enjoying all of the Spawn book. The artwork is fantastic. All of the artwork in the Spawn books right now is wonderful. So make sure to check out Spawn. What is it? Number 328. And up next we have Ghost Rider number 2. Some of you may remember last month that Ghost Rider number 1 was my pick of the week. This series is done by Percy Smith, Peoples, and Valenza. It's a fantastic book. The second issue does not slow down at all from where the first one does. I like what they're doing with Johnny Blaze as a character. I will say it's a little bit of a trope right now to have our main character be split into their alter ego and their standard persona, and never the twain shall meet. That's kind of a thing going on in comic books right now. But apart from that, I think the storyline's really original and I'm very much enjoying it. Definitely a big thumbs up for Ghost Rider number 2. And coming up next, we have Immortal XMen number 1. Of all the books I read this week, this was the one that took me the longest. I had to keep getting up, getting a drink, taking a break. I have not been super into the X-Men since Hickman took over. And I don't know, because I don't remember back in the days when like the X-Men were in the Savage Land and things like that. I don't remember how long it lasted. If people were up in arms because they're like, oh, I don't like this story. But that's kind of how I feel on this Hickman, where Hickman started it with the Krakoa storyline, and then as it continued on, it got more political and more X-Men soap opera-y. I think that's an adjective. I'm not a huge fan right now of everything going on with the X-Men. I hate to say it, but I'm almost kind of just waiting for it to come back to the status quo. That being said, I do think that this book was better than some of the previous issues, and I don't know if Immortal is like just taking over the X-Men title. If that's the case, then you know, it's interesting, and I'll look forward to seeing how it goes. But of course, this book is done by Gillen, Wernick, and Curiel. Gillen, of course, you know, I've read a bunch of his Star Wars stuff and things like that, but this one just seems a bit much. I'm going to keep reading it though, but right now I'm going to give it a thumbs down, except for this fantastic, I'm not going to pull it out to show you, but it's got a fantastic wraparound cover with basically the Last Supper for the X-Men, and I absolutely love that cover. If they haven't already printed a poster of it, I hope they do, because I want to get that. Coming up next, we have The Hulk, number 5, by Donny Cates, Ryan Ottley, Cliff Rathburn, and Frank Martin. This has been one of those series that's had a lot of ups and downs for me. Like the first couple of issues I wasn't really into, and then like I think it was the third issue really hooked me, and then the fourth issue kind of let me down a little bit. But this one I really liked, and you could say that it's just because it's kind of a more visceral issue where you see like Thunderbolt Ross basically just tearing into his universe's version of Bruce Banner so that they can try to fight and kill our Bruce Banner and our Hulk. Shouldn't be missed. I really think that. I think it's a fun book, and, you know, regardless of whether it seems like right now there's not a whole lot of direction for the book, I feel like it'll get there, and I think that it'll be worth the wait. So I'm going to give Hulk a thumbs up this week. I did enjoy it. It's a fast-paced read, and it's definitely worth your time. Coming up next, this is my book of the week. This is Punisher #1 by Aaron Saiz, Asaceta, and Stewart. I feel like this book came out 2 weeks ago. Perhaps it just came late in my order, but Punisher #1 does everything right. And I don't care how many people argue that, oh, they shouldn't have changed the logo. I don't care about the politics. What I do think is that everything that they did in the book, they did for the right reasons, and they did well. We see not an origin story, but we see basically a 2-page, 3-page flashback to a very pivotal moment in the Punisher's life, which I couldn't really be spoiling this for most people, but I'm going to try not to. We see that scene play out in just 2 or 3 pages, which is fantastic because it gives us the very basic part of a origin story without having to rehash it, without having to go, oh my goodness, 20 pages into this exact same story I've read 15 different times from 20 different writers and artists. It's not like that. It's a quick recap, and then they throw you directly into modern time where none of us know what's been going on with Frank, and all of a sudden his lifestyle and his demeanor is completely different than normal. The reason for the logo change has to do with all of these story developments, and I think it's a really cool story. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but let me just tell you, The Punisher and The Hand, it's pretty awesome. Definitely a big thumbs up. This is my favorite book this week. I hope you check it out. We all need to be on board with this one because Jason Aaron's is great and everything he does is wonderful, but this is chef's kiss. Just so good. That is the books that I read this week. I will bring you another day off reading comics next week, but before then, I'm going to do a review of the Dark Ages miniseries. I read through those. I reread them this week so that I could do, a real review on them. So I'll be taking care of that probably tomorrow or the next day. So make sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Give me a big thumbs up because all of your support really helps the channel grow. We're over 150 subscribers now. Thank you, every one of you. And I really look forward to spending more time with you next week. So remember, when all else fails, take a nap.